Kelly, and I wanted to share with you kind of how I plan in my planners for trips, and specifically I wanted to share with you kind of what I've got going on this summer. So I have a couple for of inserts for upcoming trips, and then one from last summer's trip, just to kind of show a before and after of how things go. So I've shown this one before, so we'll start there. This is the mini travel insert from the 1407 planners that I did a Hamilton quote on. Some kind of summery watercolor colors. I actually used this for our Puerto Rico trip. It holds 3 trips. And then my February trip to Chicago is in here. But then we're taking a little Hamilton adventure in a couple of weeks to Chicago for my son's birthday. So this insert for every of the 4 trips, or 3 trips that it fits in, gives you a packing list. And so I've kind of written in my packing list situation. I've got a little bookmark from Adorable Studio on there. And then for the first kind of basic information, it has your travel plans, and I put some little privacy screens on here for information that you guys don't need about my flights and accommodations specifically. But I've just made a note of the days, the airline. There is a record locator number under there that you guys don't need, and then just kind of the times we're looking at flying to and from. I made a note for myself that it's $8 per person per flight for Wi-Fi, because I can already hear my son, Mom, can I have Wi-Fi on my tablet? Yeah, it's going to happen. He's going to want to like play his games that have Wi-Fi on the plane. And then parking at the airport is going to cost us $27 for the whole 3-day trip. So I just made a note myself that that's what's going to be charged on my toll tag when we leave. Our hotel is here. Again, kind of have a privacy screen on personal information about check-in. And then I noted how much the stay is going to cost, and then what they charge as a deposit for incidentals, so I can expect those charges to be falling on and off my cards. Chicago in particular is really bad about this. Some hotels are reasonable like this, and it's $50. And then there are other hotels that charge you $100 per night deposit, and that can get really extravagant. So definitely look that up and make sure you know what you're being expected to charge. And then so for every day in the trip, it gives you kind of a daily itinerary and schedule sheet and places for you to make notes. So here's kind of how I use mine. Obviously, I leave the weather and the highlight empty until I get there. And you can see I use some white out here. Originally, our trip was supposed to be 2 weeks earlier, and then we had some changes, so I moved it. Oh well, right? So the first day is going to be like just getting there. And I wrote some things that we're looking at exploring, some kind of potentials for breakfast and lunch and dinner, based on some of the research I do in Google Maps. And I'll show you that in a separate part of this video, and how I kind of come up with my list of restaurants. So, and then the definite plans, like things we have tickets for, I list here. So we have tickets to see Six, the musical, at the Yard at Chicago Shakespeare Theater on that first night. So I have that listed. And then on the schedule, anything that is confirmed, like we're flying or we're arriving, is in pen. We're going to Six. Anything else that's just like an idea of how I think I want it to go is in pencil, because I don't want to put it in pen and then change it. So I think we're going to go to Lincoln Park Zoo that morning. Of course, it'll be weather dependent and my son's attitude dependent, let's be honest. Then we're going to just kind of chill and refresh at the hotel, go get dinner near where we're going to see the show at Navy Pier. And then I just use this bottom note section to be an outfit planner, because I love to make sure I'm packing the correct clothes and not missing any accessories or parts of that outfit. So I have like what I think I'm going to wear on the plane, what I think I'm going to wear to tool around town, and then what I think I'm going to wear to the theater that night. So I do that. And then the same for the next day. We definitely have tickets for the Hamilton exhibition. You don't get to see our confirmation number. And we definitely have tickets to Hamilton that night. Again, you don't get to see that. And so I kind of planned what I think we're going to eat, kind of what our day is going to look like, and what I'm going to wear. And then the next day we're going home. This is a very short trip, so I just need one outfit to fly home in. We're probably going to eat breakfast at the airport, and when we land, grab something to eat on the way home. We got to pick up our dog by 7 that night from the kennel. So it's really short. And there's one extra page. This is a 3-day trip. They give you enough pages for 4 days. 3 4-day trips in the mini planner. Okay, so one of the things that I like to use is Google Maps. And that helps me plan my trips by figuring out what restaurants or attractions are close to where I'm staying or where I already know I'm going. And so I like to start by just making a map. So if you sign in with a Google account, like I'm already signed in, and so I'm going to look at Chicago, which I've been a few times. So I have quite a few places on my list. But if you go over to menu and go to your places, it will show a list of things that I've saved before. But you can also look at like lists that you've saved before. And so I can like look at maps that I've saved, places I visited. If you save that stuff, I don't. But so these are lists that I've made under saved. So I have lots of lists. So if I go to Chicago trip and click on that, it's going to show everything that I've saved under my Chicago trip. So if I'm like, oh yeah, I was interested in these restaurants, or you know, sometimes you like read an article about a place or see a place on Instagram and you're like, oh yeah, I want to remember that place. If I'm in that neighborhood, I want to try to go there. So I save lots of stuff. And so then when you zoom into your map, and I'm sorry, I'm using my husband's computer, which is not a computer I'm familiar with, but my computer was not cooperating on the screen recording. So if I'm like looking wonky, clicking through stuff, I'm so sorry about that. It's just what it is. So it'll pull up and you'll see these little dots of places that you've previously saved. So like we're going to go see 6 at the Chicago Shakespeare Theater. So let's go over here to Navy Pier and see what we have on the list. Come on. And yeah, if you zoom in enough, you can actually see different things you have. So if I go to like Chicago Shakespeare Theater and I click on it, it'll give me all the information about that place. It also tells me that I have it saved in 2 different lists. I save everything. So if you click on it in starred places, because then that's my backup if I forget to put it on a specific list. And then I save it in the list for that thing. So I have one for Chicago trip. I have one for playing camp. I have always a running list for New York. When we went to Puerto Rico, I started one. And now that we're planning another trip to Puerto Rico, I've gone back to that Disneyland, Maryland, and Philadelphia. We went to Oklahoma last summer. Austin was in Go Wild. Go Wild was in Austin last year. So I've got some lists going. And so you can use favorites or want to go. I just like to save everything in these 2 places. So let's pick a place that I haven't saved so I can kind of show you how this works. So let's say the Navy Pier Carousel. I have not saved that in any list. But if I click on save, I can put it in starred places and I can put it in Chicago. But then if I decide, you know what, I'm not 5 and my kid doesn't really, you know, he likes a good carousel, I guess, but probably we're not going to spend time doing that. I can go take it off the list in the same way by going to that saved button. It's really easy. So this is one of my cool tools. So what I will do is, let me zoom back out a lot. If you pick like, I want to go eat dinner before we go to see Hamilton, and I don't know where we want to eat. So I'm going to put in a place I know I have saved, the CIBC Theater on West Monroe. And then you can kind of zoom in and figure out like what are the restaurants near here. Now I've been enough times, I know what the restaurants are near here. But if you didn't know, like the first time I went, you could kind of, again, I'm screwing it up because this is not my computer. It looks a little bit different. Oh, there's a Memorial Day parade. I'm like, wait, I've never seen this line in Chicago before. But, oh, that's cool. I didn't know it would do that. It would update parade routes for you. So there's restaurants over here. There's one right here, and it's not popping up on the map. And I know that because I've eaten there. But so you can kind of get a view of what's near you. And if you're like, oh, Grill Room and Chop House, what's that? And so I may go click on that. It's not popping up like I want it to. Let's try Italian Village. I've been there before. What happened to my little sidebar? Okay, it's over here. See? So Italian Village, and I go, okay, well, I want to know what that's about, so I can go click on the website. Pull up the website, and so this is actually a restaurant that has multiple restaurants in it, and I've eaten at the La Cantina because they do reservations on Open Table, and it was easiest. But if I wanted to know, like, what do they have on the menu, because I don't know if it's something my child would enjoy, or maybe we won't have enough time to eat there, I can see they have a dinner menu and a pre-theater menu. And so you can go check out the menu. You can see if it's something that you would enjoy, because I know can be kind of a picky eater. So for me, that's helpful. So I just do that for everywhere. Everything I want to do. When I'm done, I go back to my map and see if there's something else. So I think we're actually going to eat at this corner bakery just because it's quick and we're going to be kind of rushing. And I know they have food my kid likes. It's a chain. I try not to eat at chains when I'm out of town for the most part. I think that's the only one we're going to do because it's a sure thing. But yeah, so when I've got all my little dots planned, then I can go back to my planner insert and select kind of my plan. Or if I want to go, okay, well, what about, we're still thinking about what we're going to do for plan camp. I've got a little map going here between where we're staying for plan camp. We want to spend some time at Disney Springs. And I think I saved the airport on here too. Oops. I told y'all. Yeah, there's the airport. I'm not good at navigating this thing. So I know, like, from the airport, we're going to stop in Disney Springs while we wait to check into our place. I don't know a lot of details about Plan Camp yet, like I said, but I know we're going to spend some time in Winter Garden, so I did mark some of those things on the map just so I kind of have a conceptual idea about where we're going. But that's all I know. I am looking at trips coming up for the rest of the year and next year. So that's why I have a Disneyland list, which is just like crazy full of stuff that looks fun. We're probably going to have a rental car some of the time, so we'll do some of that. Pretty cool. So that's Chicago, mid-ish June. The end of June to beginning of July, I'm going to Plan Camp, which is in Orlando this year. And so I did this cover, and I think I showed this in another video, possibly. I can't remember, y'all. My brain, it's the end of the school year. I have nothing left. But I did this with the Blitzy inks by Ken Oliver, and then added some little foil accents, and on my silhouette, I cut out the lettering for Take a Break. Because this is going to be like, Plan Camp is a planner conference, but it's more of like a planner retreat. It's not like sit and get all day like we're doing stuff. This is the 1407 Planners Planner Event book. And so I wanted to show this one because this is a full travel planner, and it has a lot of similarities between a planner event insert, but they do differ slightly. So I got them out to just kind of show some differences. So obviously, event info versus travel plans. This jumps right into the travel plans, and then these pages are in here in some form, but they do come later. So we're going to set that to the side. So again, get to see some of my details, but we're going to fly. Again, I noted Wi-Fi costs and parking costs, and then our location where we're going to be staying. So here's where like some of the budget stuff comes in. So it has you kind of pre-budget in both inserts, just so you can kind of compare if you want the travel insert or the event insert. You can kind of budget, and then there's actually like, what did I spend? So I mean, I obviously already bought my Plan Camp ticket and bought my flight. Everything else right now is just an estimate of what I'm going to spend. These things I don't really know. So Plan Camp sent us this itinerary, but part of the fun of Plan Camp is it's a mystery. There are lots of surprises built in. So I know there will be some vendors on the day that we're kind of doing our plan and play time, which I believe is the Sunday. And there may be some workshops that are built into this Winter Garden experience. That whole thing, like, we know we're going to go to Winter Garden, Florida. And I know the Kit Life store is there. So there may be something hands-on that we do there. But I don't really know. Like, that's part of the fun and surprise of Plan Camp. So I have a general outline, but I don't really know what we're doing. So those are blank. It will probably be filled in after as like a memory situation. There is this like to do before leaving thing. And I need to cancel my rental car because I rented a car for myself. But I think Lynette's going to be able to pick me up. So I'll just pay her for part of that. I need to plan out what we're going to do in Disney Springs. Most of the stuff that normally applies to trips, I don't have to do because my husband's still going to be at home, so I don't have to like board the dog or put a mail hold or any of those things. So I'll think on this some more probably before we get going. I did start on my packing list, and Plan Camp also sent us a packing list. This is a Design Pandemonium kind of a, or I guess Libby & Co. They both kind of co-sponsor this thing. But it's a vinyl sticker. And I will probably stick this in a second place somewhere important so that I have an extra list to check myself on. But then I kind of personalized in here and added other things that I know I need. And so this has the same, it has packing lists in the travel planner. It does have more room for a packing list in the travel planner versus the event planner to really like break things apart by category. So if that's important to you, then maybe even for a planner event, the travel insert would work better for you. And then it has so many days for all of this that I was able to like put a whole day and convert it into an outfit planner all on here because it has so many pages for packing in the travel insert. So if that's your deal, then that's perfect. And then it also in the travel insert has a must go, must see, must eat, must shop, which is great when I'm working with my Google Maps to kind of plan places out. And maybe we won't go to all these places, but I'll at least have a list to work from. So that's really neat. That's not in this event planner. So we'll leave that over there. So this just has kind of like a day by day. So the day's schedule. And I put in the things I know. I know we're flying to Orlando. I know me and Lynette are going to hang in Disney Springs and do stuff. And then I know we're going to check into the resort, and they've already told us that there's, you know, we're going to get our rooms. There's some welcome drinks. There's a poolside happy hour and hors d'oeuvres. All that's happening, but that's all we know about. Everything else is a surprise. So again, like I kind of did a little meal planner over here. We're going to eat at the airport. We're going to eat something for lunch at Disney Springs, and then dinner will be at the event. And then I've made kind of a place to plan some Disney Springs must-dos, and I got to dig into this a little more. But shopping and eating things I want to make sure that I do. Day 2 is largely a surprise. So again, I took the itinerary they gave us and put it on here. But I know we're going to go to Winter Garden and do some stuff and eat some lunch. And I know we're going to come back and have dinner and dessert and a signature drink and karaoke and whatever other shenanigans we get into. So, I mean, it's like, it's planners with planner friends, but also it's just a fun, relaxing time. So the third day, the Sunday, is kind of getting up late. There's a brunch bar. We're going to have some plan and play time. Our resort actually has a water park at it as well. So we're able to go do that. There's dinner and dessert. We're going to have kind of like a game night. And again, like the planning will probably just continue too. So it's just like a day by day. And then day 4, I'm going home. It does have more days. So if you're going to a longer event, or if it's an event that you're adding some extra time onto, you can do that. People to meet, new friends. I actually know quite a few people coming to this, but I need to dig into our private Facebook group a little more and like see who I want to be intentional about meeting. And then there's just some dot grid pages back here for anything you want to use them for. And so just to show the contrast from the event planner insert to the full size travel insert, this actually looks totally different. I converted it. So it's meant to hold enough for like a 12-day trip. And each box is a day. And this is like an itinerary overview. Our New York trip last year was 4 days. And so I just kind of changed it into columns and made every column a day. I did like a morning, afternoon, evening, so I could chunk our plans. And it's a mess because our plans changed a few times. And I had already written in pen. So it's sloppy, but it's good. And so this is a lot like the mini insert. It just has like, what are we doing today? And then a schedule for every day. And there's some extra days because our trip was like 4 days long. And this is before the 1407 planners had the mini trip. So I bought the full size. So there's a lot of blank days in here. And I could go back and put pictures or souvenirs. I've already kind of showed you how I do some travel memory keeping. And there was so much of that it wouldn't have fit in here. So I didn't do that. But yeah, this is just a little quick idea to kind of show you how I keep track of my travel plans. I love this. Even if you're using something big like an Erin Condren or a Happy Planner, I think these inserts are great because you don't have to take your whole planner with you Or you can leave it in the hotel. You can either lock it in your suitcase or lock it in the safe if you're that protective of it. And just take your little insert in your purse or your travel bag when you go out for the day, and you can have that and not have to carry your whole big planner with you. I think that's a really valuable thing to these B6 size inserts, is you can take the insert only with you in your purse or your fanny pack or whatever you're using, your day bag, and not have to carry a big planner with you. So thanks for watching. I hope you got some ideas about how you can plan your trips, and I'll be back with more memory travel keeping after these things have happened this summer. And then of course, I'll obviously be back and do another video on the trips I have coming up for the fall and winter. So stay tuned. I'm always on the go. Traveling is a big part of who I am and how I choose to spend my time and money over other things. So I'm here for it. I hope you are too. See you on the internet soon. Bye.